me to it, Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna see if I can get everybody muted.
Hey,
But if you are not muted,
Yeah, she's a trip.
So.
Hold on just a second. I'm just starting a Barrier Busters meeting.
Oh God, never mind.
They haven't started yet. They haven't started yet. So,
okay. Oh yeah, no, she's a problem. I'll listen to her.
Tracy, we can hear everything you're saying.
She knew. I don't think she knew, but she's just mad.
Yeah,
she just hates. She's like,
see if I can get.
She just hates it. She thinks it's stupid and doesn't.
And the host.
Hi. Yeah, if we can get everybody muted. Thank you. That might have worked. I think we're all quiet now. All right. Well, I'm comfortable getting started. Thank you everybody for coming. I liked reading the comments about everybody's plans. Yeah, I'm kind of doing the hanging around, not sure what's going to happen. But we are going to start with Maria. So Maria, if you're ready, you can tell us about your program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have my screen fully occupied by the presentation, so I cannot see you. Well, I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Maria Militzer. I am.
But I don't. That's the thing. I do, but it's not.
Okay. I'm currently the Paul B. Corneli postdoctoral scholar at the Center for Research on Ethnicity, Culture, and Health at the University of Michigan School of Public Health. But more importantly, to my professional and personal life is my work with Mexiquenses in Michigan, which is a grassroots community organization that is committed to advancing the and promoting the well-being of Latinx families in the area, especially in the Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti areas. And I have the privilege of working with this community organization for the last 2 years. Previously, I have been part of other organizations in town, including Buenos Vecinos, where the Spanish Community Interpreter Project started. Previously, I was also a member of the board of Casa Latina, and before Casa Latina, it was Latinos Unidos, all the way to 2002, when we started to publish a bilingual newspaper called La Voz Latina in Washtenaw County. So I have been around for over 20 years now. The last 10 years of my life, I have been dedicated to advance my education and develop all the skills I can in order to advocate for equity, especially in health outcomes and access to services in these communities and other communities, especially in the California area. So this is my privilege to be here before you. And if there is anything that I say that it's hard to understand, because I understand I have a heavy accent, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll be more than happy to clarify my message or find another word that sounds better. I also want to apologize for missing last meeting. I was confused about if I was presenting or not, but I'm so sorry for letting you guys down, but I'm here, and I hope this presentation will be helpful. So the Spanish Community Interpreter Project is a community-led academic research that is based on community-based participatory research principles, and it also follows a system approach where the impact of the different activities included in this project are being felt and evaluated at different levels of the ecological system. So this work has been funded since 2017 by the University of Michigan Rackham School for Graduate Students. When I was a doctoral student, I received funding to start this project, and later on by the Michigan Institute for Clinical Health Research, or MICHR as is also known, by the University of Michigan Ginsberg Center, and most recently by United Way of Washtenaw County. So what I'm going to share with you—
It's fine. I just had a— No, I waited for all this stuff.
So what I'm going to share with you is a short overview of what this project has been, how it started, and where it is right now. So the reason why the Spanish Interpreter Project started is because the immigrant communities, especially the Latinx community in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, and now in the most recent years, is expanding all across the county. And they all face limited access to services, community services that we know make an impact on how the outcomes for health, social, academic, and other areas like legal and immigration affect their well-being. We advocate for equal and equitable access to services, which translate into opportunity. This is data based on a 2015 assessment that was done in collaboration with the Washtenaw County Health Department and a group of Latinx residents that took upon the goal of gaining a larger picture, a clearer picture of how and who and when the Latinx immigrant residents are in our county. And despite the official data back then, the estimation that the county census level had underestimated the number of Latinx immigrant residents. And this encuesta or survey that was implemented across the county rendered that over 18,000 Latinx immigrants were living in our county. At this point, I'm more than sure that there are a lot more than 18,000, and the expected population growth is over 100%. And in approximately 15 years, the increase will be even larger. Based on the results from Encuesta Buenos Vecinos, approximately half of the Latinx community residents have some limitations, have some gaps in knowledge of the predominant language, which is English, and in the way that they cannot speak it fluently or read it fluently enough. And they have problems, some issues, understanding and interacting with other community members whose primary language is English. Many of them, about a quarter of the respondents in this survey, had difficulty finding legal services, along with other, especially health and mental health services, because of language barriers. Washtenaw County also reported that 40% of Latinx or Spanish-speaking residents face limited access to community services. About 40% of the respondents reported limited involvement in their children's education, which is crucial component in achieving graduation rates or academic improvement in their educations. We also know that education is one of the most important factors in breaking poverty cycles, especially when the current population was reporting that 30% were living below the poverty level. So the Washtenaw County Spanish Community Interpreter Project visualized different outcomes from this medium and long-term collaboration with other organizations in town and in the area. And one of them was by promoting collaboration among different organizations in the healthcare, social services, public schools, and the legal and immigration areas. Will be collaborating in order to build community capacity in terms of language access. And because of that, the Spanish community interpreter training was designed and implemented across the years. So what's the goal of creating community capacity to meet the language needs of Spanish-speaking immigrants and their families in our county? One, because the Spanish community interpreter has the role of enabling effective communication between service providers and their clients. There is a greater understanding of their community needs. And also they serve as a cultural broker, if you will, and they exchange, they share different aspects of what the Latin cultures may be. We also understand that the Latin culture is not monolithic. There are many aspects of it that vary across the population, but language is one of them that unifies our communities. So this is step-by-step or phase-by-phase diagram of what the Spanish community interpreter has been across time. We started planning these activities back in 2017, along with members of Buenos Vecinos. The first step we took into learning more and understanding how the language capacity was at that point in our county was by launching a language capacity assessment. Findings from this assessment informed the development of a curriculum that was specially tailored to the needs of the Spanish community residents in the area and the specific factors that are somehow limiting their growth and their health in different ways. Those findings from the assessment that included a series of interviews with different community key informants, both in the community and organizations and agencies in the area, that provided very helpful information in creating the training, the Spanish community interpreter training. And we also got ourselves involved in developing an evaluation and dissemination process to inform everyone who wanted to learn more about this initiative, about how we conducted this community engaged research and the direct impact of these activities on how able we were now to meet the language needs of Spanish speakers in our county. So during the phase one, which was planning that was conducted between 2017 and 2018, there were different members from, a couple of them from Buenos Vecinos, including Charo Ledon and Leonardo Reaño, and Nayeli Mena from Mexican City, Michigan, and a colleague of mine, Angelica Snyder, who is the lead Spanish interpreter now at the Michigan Medicine Interpreter Services, and myself. So the language access assessment included an online survey that was developed and their participants were community organizations and agencies that were willing to provide very important information in terms of their language capacity, in terms of staff, and how they were serving their Spanish-speaking clients at that point. And also the online survey allows to learn what best practices they were using and share them with those who may have some limitations and learn from each other. The in-depth interviews also were very helpful in understanding in a different context how organizations were dealing with limited resources in terms of financial resources and culturally and linguistically competent staff in order to be able to provide the services in an adequate manner. This is a list of the organizations that participated in that first language access assessment and the different services that they were providing and continue to provide many of them until now. So these are results or preliminary findings that we were able to learn from the community-based organizations. And it was critical to learn how much space and financial resources they were dedicating to serve Spanish-speaking clients. And the main outcome of this assessment from the community-based organizations' point of view is that there was a limitation in the number of bilingual providers, staff, and funding that were preventing them from serving Spanish-speaking clients. And I don't think these factors have changed dramatically for the good in the most recent years. I think it has been even more drained. There are even less bilingual providers, less staff, and less funding for enabling services to Spanish-speaking clients in the area. The main findings from community informant interviews is that there was and there continue to be a need for free and reliable and competent interpreter services at different areas, such as healthcare centers, schools, with organizations that provide social services or provide a support network in the area, immigration lawyers. Many of them were asking family members, including their children and friends, to interpret for them without the proper training and without understanding different aspects of what a competent interpreter need to know, like confidentiality and privacy of personal information and health information. We also learned that interpretation done over the phone was limited, and a big bottleneck that we identified through these interviews is that making the first contact with a clinic or an organization was one of the main critic areas where we needed to work. So in phase 3, when we dedicated our time and effort to develop the Spanish community interpreter training, we designed a training that will last 30 hours, and it will include skills in the physical and mental health areas, legal and immigration area, interactions in the public school settings, and also, very importantly, how to become competent when interpreting for the LGBTQ plus communities. This is just a picture of the approximate, well, yeah, the word 18, 20, I don't remember very well the number at this point, but there were more than 18 community members who participated in this first training. You could recognize in this picture a very, very well-known advocate for community equity, Maria Freire over here, Maria, and people from the Jewish Family Services, from Packard Health, etc. This is an overview of their socio-demographic characteristics. Most of them were women. There were women who were immigrants themselves, many of them, and because of other circumstances, were able to become graduate students, be staff or volunteers in community organizations, and also advance their education in the United States. The different aspects that we have been assessing through the years is how much impact the training they receive is measured in terms of the medical terminology or vocabulary that they acquired based on the training, how accurate they are in terms of communicating, interpreting accurately, the flow of communications, role boundaries, interpreting for children, and the self-efficacy of based on the knowledge and skills they developed through the training. And we evaluated these specific dimensions of what it means to be a competent interpreter, were assessed by a survey at the beginning and at the end of the training, and the differences, as you can see there, were significant in terms of the statistical methods we used to make the comparisons. Based on that work, we, and also after the pandemic or during the pandemic, when we were very much, all of us, involved on keeping up with the needs of our communities. One big area we learned about increasing need for access based on language capabilities is services in mental health. We designed 10-hour module for interpreters, for community interpreters, to become more confident and better prepared to interpret in mental health settings. It also, this new aspect of the Spanish community interpreter training also includes training in terms of cultural understanding and how to work with an interpreter for mental health providers. This training is being developed right now, and we hope that it will be implemented in late June. It's a training that will last around 3 hours. I'm happy to announce now that the Spanish Community Interpreter Project Plus, that's how we call it now, because it includes the mental health component and also extends to provide the skills to mental health providers, is the Spanish Community Interpreter Plus. So this is what the Spanish Community Interpreter Training Plus looks like. This is our most recent iteration of this work. We started, again, the planning, and this time we were able to integrate a steering committee that was participants came from healthcare community centers. We have mental health providers, community members, interpreters, and because we are all either bilingual or Spanish speaking, I was very, very happy that we were able to create this work together without language barriers. So from September to December of 2021, we integrated the steering committee. We also work on engaging different community organizations. We conducted further interviews now based on access to mental health services for Spanish speakers, and the different findings of results from these interviews. Again, we use them to inform the curriculum development of the now mental health and community interpreting training. At the beginning of the year, we started recruiting Spanish community interpreters to participate in a 40-hour training. Our initial goal was to have 10 Spanish community interpreters. We ended up enrolling,
hold on, this shouldn't even be
15 of them. I think it's important to mention that in the first training and this extended training, community interpreters received a stipend in order to be able to afford childcare and transportation services and any other expenses that they incurred to attend the training. We have staff from different organizations who learned how to provide interpreter services competently. So at the end of February, the Spanish community interpreter training started, and we completed it at the end of April. This time it was developed and delivered in 12 evening sessions. So it was a lot of work by from their part, from the trainer, and we were able to provide food and another stipend for participating in this training. They also participated in a small research component, which was the piloting of the mental health interpreting module. They received a separate stipend for participating in this research component that Now we are in the process of evaluating the whole training as outcomes and changes, if you will, that we will need to make in the future to improve the training and perhaps expand it to other areas that are equally important. So at this point, we have 15 community members who are providing, ready to provide the Spanish community interpreter services. Several of these trainees work in Washtenaw County institutions such as the Health Department, Washtenaw Health Plan, Safe House, Packard Health, and now they are better prepared to meet the needs of Spanish-speaking clients. As I mentioned before, in June, at the end of June, beginning of July, we'll be able to launch the cultural understanding training and how to work with interpreters tailored to meet the needs of mental health providers. This is a table that provides more detail of the different funding that we have received across the years and what specific activities each grant provided, starting with MeChart, the Ginsberg Center, United Way. And one important component of all this funding is each one has provided specific funding to pay for Spanish interpreting services. We are measuring them in hours. So we are also working right now with different organizations to create collaborative where this pool of interpreters is shared, is a resource sharing process. And the interpreters will be paid and will be paid equitably in terms of the time and investment they have put into developing their interpreting skills. And funding from ECHR provided 100 hours. We know that 100 hours go really fast. So in the following grants that we received, we increased the number of hours available, and we are about to have around 900 hours of interpreting services available to organizations that are willing to work with us in crucial areas of contact for Spanish-speaking residents. The Ginsberg Center allows us to expand the number of interpreters participating in the training. As I mentioned, we scheduled funding for 10. We ended up with 15. And the interpreting training went from 30 hours to 40 hours. And despite the funding coming from different sources, it was less than, here was $5,000, here was $3,500, and here was $12,000. So altogether was a bit higher than 20K. And with this money, we'll be able to do, have been able to do different things. And for us, for an organization like Mexiquenses in Michigan that have been working on volunteer basis with volunteer support, we understand that funding is very important, but it's not what it moves, what motivates our volunteers to do the work we do. So with $21,000, we have provided training and developed 2 curricula for interpreters, for mental health providers, and money to implement these services at the community level. We provided stipends for interpreters. It will provide stipends for the organizations that will be contributing to this pilot for this implementation phase in the community level. And it's more about collaboration and coordination than how much money we have. And if you have a couple of minutes, I would like to share this. This is a schematic representation of the different activities, the objectives that were developed for the interpreter, for the mental health interpreter and provider training, and the different activities that you heard me describe. If any of you want these specific diagrams of the whole presentation, or have any other questions about what it took us to be able to provide these services, please don't hesitate to reach out. And all this information is public, so, and more than happy to share it with you. We developed that schematic flow of objectives and activities for process implementation. And this is our logic model, where we specifically highlight the outcomes in the short, medium, and long term. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Maria. That was wonderful. I'm going to, if anyone's conjuring up some questions for Maria, I'm going to get in touch here with Vanessa Armstrong. I'm going to make you co-host. Are you prepared to do your presentation?
Yes, I'm all set.
Okay. Maria, thank you so much for joining us today. And yes, we did miss you last month, but we're glad you were here today. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, is everyone seeing my screen okay? All right, great. So I will go ahead and get started. My name is Vanessa Armstrong, and I am a community nutrition instructor for Michigan State University Extension. I work out of Lenawee and Washtenaw counties. So we will go ahead and get started. So before we get too far, I just want to let everyone know that MSU is an affirmative action, equal opportunity employer. Michigan State University Extension programs and materials are open to all without regard to race, color, national origin, sex, gender, gender identity, religion, age, height, weight, disability, political beliefs, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, or veteran status. So before we get too far, like I said, I am a community nutrition instructor and I work in Lenawee and Washtenaw counties. And our audience, I thought I would give a little overview before we get into programs. I work under the Expanded Food Nutrition Education Program. And our audience would be limited resource parents or adults that are providing care to children in their homes, or maybe grandparents that are helping to raise grandkids, adults essentially that are providing food on a regular basis for kids, and they can say that they are purchasing food and preparing food regularly for children in the home. So that could be foster parents, like say grandparents. We also, pregnant women, pregnant and parenting teens. And we do also do youth programming. Primarily my youth programs are focused in Lenawee County. But I do some teen programming in Washtenaw County. There's a lot of other agencies that focus on the youth programming up there. So I am trying to focus on the eligible adult population in Washtenaw County.
And let's our deadline due at midnight.
And what makes, like I said, when I say limited food resources, sometimes that's a little broad, but usually they're receiving public assistance. So that could be WIC, that could be free or reduced lunch at school, that could be SNAP benefits, anything like that. And then here's kind of a breakdown of what our classes typically consist of. We run a 6-week series, and those classes are usually about 2 hours for adults. So sometimes we have an exception where maybe the partner needs to do it in a little less time, and we can work around those situations sometimes. We do that with our youth programs as well. When we're in elementary schools, we're there for 6 weeks. Our nutrition lessons are based off of MyPlate. So if you're not familiar with MyPlate, I've got an image here for you, and you could go to choosemyplate.gov. But these are just the recommendations our government gives for a healthy, balanced diet. And if you remember years ago, it was the food pyramid. So this is a little easier to understand if you're not familiar with those, because it's a plate and people can visualize it a little bit better. We also always include a physical activity break in our classes, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long our class is. Sometimes those will be a little bit longer. We like to tell the grown-ups that they're stretch breaks because it doesn't scare them off. If they hear physical activity, some of them want to run for the door, but we say stretch break, and usually that's a little better received. And we also talk about the importance of physical activity, the recommendations for adults and children, that sort of thing. Food safety, there's always a food safety component to our classes. And that could be with, like when I'm teaching kindergarten, as simple as washing your hands and, you know, coughing into your elbow, those sorts of things. And then adults, it could be making sure you're getting your cold foods in the refrigerator within 2 hours and the proper temperature for cooking your meat to, or how to defrost frozen foods, that sort of thing. And it's pretty wide ranging. And then every class will have either a food tasting demonstration or hands-on cooking. In our adult and teen classes, we really aim to have every class have some kind of cooking experience. Elementary classes, we will take samples in and do a tasting in class. So we try to expose them to things that may have never tried before. So it just varies, but for our teens and adults, we always try to do some kind of hands-on cooking demonstration or experience. And some people may see 6 weeks and think that's a little overwhelming. I am available to come and do a one-time presentation. So maybe you have some groups that you think they might be interested in this, but 6 weeks seems like a lot to begin with, especially they don't know me. So I can come out and do a presentation. We can do a food demonstration and just have a little fun 20 minutes to an hour kind of get together and see how it goes. And then maybe you'll call me back to come for another series later down the line. And it's a great way to recruit too. So if you did have a series and you wanted people to kind of get an idea what that was going to look like, this would be a great way to kind of ease into that. So I thought I would give you an overview of some of our most popular programs. So our classes are offered to participants at no cost. They are also offered to partners at no cost, with the exception of Cooking Matters. And the reason I say that is we have several iterations of Cooking Matters that can be done within my grant and my colleagues' SNAP Ed grant. But Cooking Matters is really unique. It's a 2-hour, 6-week course where 1 hour of that is really the hands-on cooking class, and then we also talk about nutrition or budgeting and, you know, a lot of label reading and things like that. But each week we'll try to prepare 2 recipes together in class, at least 2, and then participants for weeks 1 through 5 get those ingredients to go home and try to make those recipes at home. So the partner cost would be the take-home groceries, which typically is about $50 a participant, because Cooking Matters, another unique thing about them is all of their recipes should feed a family of 4 for under $10. So I just completed a series, and we were able, even with the prices of food right now, we were able to stay within that budget. So I would teach primarily Cooking Matters for parents, because parents are my audience. And then we also do Cooking Matters for families, which is fun. I like to have a helper for that because, as you can imagine, it's a lot of extra. And it's one adult caregiver and one child, 3rd grade or older, and they work as a team to prepare some recipes. And you see some smiling faces here from a class we just completed where they were making fruit tarts with whole wheat bread and like a nice low-fat cream cheese mixture that they made, and they got to decorate it with lots of different fruit. And then they all made some healthy sugar-free beverages. And I believe this was a strawberry, lemon, lime seltzer water thing that they all raved about. So we also measure sugar out in classes where we will grab some of these sodas that everyone loves and have them calculate how many teaspoons of sugar and then have them measure it out. And when there's a Mountain Dew and they figure out there's 19 teaspoons of sugar and they see that, they're usually cutting back after we finish one of those classes. And then we also have a virtual, kind of a condensed temporary version of Cooking Matters for Parents called Cooking Matters at Home. It's a 5-week class and it's only an hour. I'll be honest, our attendance has not been amazing for those classes because I think a lot of people are just kind of burnt out on virtual classes at this point. And then I thought I would give you some samples of some of the recipes that we make in our classes. These are very brief videos. This is a mango salsa, which is one of my favorite Cooking Matters recipes. And you can find these on cookingmatters.org in these recipes if they look enticing to you. That is mango salsa. And the running joke at my house is when I say, we're going to have mango salsa tonight, my husband's like, are we having mango salsa? Or are you having mango salsa? Because I have eaten a whole bowl of that by myself because it's so good. So I highly recommend that. And then this is our baked flake chicken. Some weeks of Cooking Matters, we have a chicken week. And if we are lucky enough to find a volunteer chef, which is another awesome thing about Cooking Matters, we will cut up a whole chicken together in class and the chef can kind of demonstrate and explain how much more affordable it is if you can take just a few extra minutes to cut up a whole chicken rather than buying chicken breast or thighs or whatever kind of cut out. And this is one of the recipes we like to do when we make that recipe or when we have chicken week. So it's a great alternative to fried chicken. Kids love it, adults love it. We usually do it in bite-sized pieces, more like chicken nugget pieces when we make it in class. But just thought, again, I would share another quick recipe with all of you. So I hope everyone had lunch because now you may be hungry. So here's another one of our healthy foods, healthy families. And like I said, a lot of our classes are really very similar concepts. So healthy foods, healthy families is completely free to participants and to hosting agencies or partners. I am completely mobile too. So as long as you have a sink and some space for me to set up, I can bring induction burners and come out. We may not be able to bake things if you don't have an oven or a kitchen, but I can bring all my supplies to your location, assuming that was something you were interested in. All of this stuff can come with me. But healthy foods, healthy families, again, we would do hands-on cooking every week with our adults. We go over how to create a food budget, keeping the food you have safe for your family, making sure you are budgeting your resources correctly. So if they do have WIC or SNAP benefits, you know, we really talk about getting the most for our money for the value. We read food labels and just, again, we talk about physical activity pretty heavily and really get, nail down those food groups for people and the recommendations for those. And then the last one I really wanted to share with you is called Today's Mom. This class, and I know it's kind of small, at least on my screen, on my presentation screen, some of the topics. Today's Mom is great because it is for pregnant women. So if you have participants or an audience of several expecting mothers, this may be a great class for them. And it goes over a lot of the same things we talked about, but it also adds in some of those unique things to being pregnant. So relief for common pregnancy discomforts and how the baby's growing and things like that. So this would be a great series too, if you have that audience that you would like to bring something new and different in for them. And we talked a lot about our physical activity. We do that like a 5 to 10 minute thing in each class, and it can vary. We play games. We try to get the kids up and moving as much as we can with games. Adults, we tell them we like to do stretch breaks. And this has been a very popular video we've done for our virtual classes during COVID until we were allowed, at least in Lenawee County, to be face-to-face with participants again. And it is very well received. This is another one of our MSU Extension colleagues. Her name is Kendra, and she is a certified yoga instructor. And I thought we would all maybe take a few minutes to do a little chair yoga, if that sounds good. I'm sure we've all probably been sitting a lot today. So we will jump into it. It is about a 7-minute video, so I may not play the whole thing, but I just thought I would let you get a little taste.
Hi, my name is Kendra Gibson, and I am a community nutrition instructor with Michigan State University Extension, and I'm here today to talk to you about chair yoga. And I am very passionate about it because almost anyone can do chair yoga. It's portable. You can take it on the road if you're traveling. You can take it to your office, and you can do it with your family. So I'm going to give you a little introduction today and do a short flow just to show you that you don't need to be afraid of yoga. Everybody thinks that they have to be really flexible, but that's why you come. And so, are you ready? Let's get this started. So what you want for chair yoga is a chair that's very solid. You don't want something that's squishy because that is your foundation. And you want your feet to be planted on the floor. So something where your feet reach. So we're gonna start here. So I want you just to get a really long spine, have the top of your head reaching for the top of the ceiling. And let's just relax here and find our foundation. Feel your feet underneath you on the floor. Feel the chair, and let's just start to rub our hands together. So we're creating heat even when we do small little moves like this, and we start to awaken the body. And then exhale, take the hands down, just let them rest for a moment, and here we go. We're gonna start our practice. So inhale up, palms are open, fingers are spread, and then as you exhale, press the palms back down. And let's do one more of those, reaching up, inhaling up, and exhaling down. Beautiful. And let's inhale again, and exhale, pressing. And then we're just gonna take a little turn here. So right hand goes onto the left knee. You might use the back of your chair or the seat of your chair. And what we're doing here is just gently turning the head. So we're not forcing, but we're looking. And we use this a lot in driving and in moving, sitting at our desks. And then walk the hands back around to center. And then take the left hand onto the knee, reach it back. So maybe your gaze stays forward. Maybe you begin to look over the shoulder. Make sure you're breathing as you hold these positions. We like to hold our breath when we're in an uncomfortable or new place. And then bring it back to center. Beautiful. So we're gonna start a sun salutation here, and I'll run you through the first flow, and then we'll do 2 more together. So we're gonna inhale up again, and then we're gonna find cactus arms. So keep the elbows up, draw the shoulder blades toward the spine and spread the fingers, and lean forward just a little bit. Navel, draw that navel in toward your spine, so you're kind of sucking it in a little bit. Nice. And then hands go down to the knees. Fold over, long spine here, and let the hands go all the way down to the feet. And you can tuck the chin in a little bit if that feels okay to you, or you can keep it long. And then we're gonna half lift here. So create a tabletop with your back and lift up as you inhale up, and then fold back down. And if it's comfortable for you, right hand goes on the foot or the ankle, or you can take your right elbow on the knee and reach your left hand up, spreading the fingers. So my gaze is up, but if that's uncomfortable for your neck, you can look at the wall or you can keep the head down. And then
Okay, so that's just a little bit of Kendra's flow, and she's going to repeat through that a couple more times, but that just gives you an idea. We really try to vary the physical activity in our class so it's not boring, but it's not overwhelming. I'm not making people do jumping jacks or running or anything like that. It's just something to let people know anything to get up and moving out of your chair is important to try to do. We've done these chair yoga things with elementary kids and they love it. And before I leave you today, I just wanted to give you a list of some of the other programs you may not be aware of that MSU Extension provides. A lot of these are available all over the state, specifically in Washtenaw County. We have a Master Gardeners hotline. So if you are doing some gardening and have a question, you can give them a call. We do offer early childhood development and parenting classes, social and emotional health programming, home preservation for foods, youth development, financial education, home buyers education, mental health first aid for youth and adults, which is fantastic. I've done both of those. ServSafe, if you have any food workers in your that need that, we offer that as well. And then I have my email address there if you want to email me after. I also included the MSU Extension website for Washtenaw County, but you can always look up statewide and there'll be events. There's a lot of virtual things still happening. And then I also have a Google form if anybody wants to put your email in there, and every quarter or so, I will send out updates on any classes I have. We do have a small grant through St. Joe's to offer Cooking Matters. We're just waiting to get permission to get back into the hospital to offer those classes in person. They were happening pretty regular pre-COVID, and then of course we haven't been able to get back over there since then, but we're hopeful that in the future that we will be able to resume a regular schedule of classes over there. So if you have any other questions for me or you want to follow up, I'm going to put those in the chat as well. So if anybody wants those. And I think that is all I have.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was wonderful. I couldn't do any of the yoga because my cat, we all can't see him, but he is crashed out on my lap. So I don't want to move too much. Next, I want to get Kelly or Lauren. Are you on my list here?
Yep.
Hi, Lauren.
Kelly may or may not be able to join us, but I'm here.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and make you co-host. So are you prepared to run your slideshow?
Yep. I am just pulling that up or starting it.
Okay. And then also just a reminder to everyone, all of these presentations will be on the Barrier Buster website. When Amber comes back, she will have it all and take care of that for us.
Thank you. We ready? All right. So I'm hoping to keep this kind of short and sweet. My name is Lauren Keogh, and I am from WAVE, Washtenaw Alliance for Virtual Education. So some of you may have heard of WAVE and some of you may not have, but I just wanted to go through and give a quick overview of what we offer at WAVE in case you come in contact with clients or families who may benefit from our services. So we are a free public high school program that serves students from all of Washtenaw County school districts. So we offer a flexible, student-centered approach to learning for students who need an alternative to the traditional high school model. We are a hybrid school, so we provide opportunities for students both in person and online. And so as such, we have staff who are in person. We kind of call them our central staff, who students may see daily. And then we also have our online folks who are typically teachers who have day jobs in traditional settings and then work for us in the evenings and on weekends to provide kind of support for students outside the traditional school hours. So it's really kind of a wraparound approach where we try to provide access to certified educators, typically from 9 in the morning until sometimes 10 or 11 at night. So we work together to design and administer a program that's aligned with state standards. So students are prepared for whatever their next steps might be, whether that's college, whether that's some sort of post-secondary training, or whether that's straight into the workforce. So we really strive to make sure that our curriculum and our content help students be prepared for whatever their next steps might be. And in many cases, we can kind of provide a warm handoff to community partners who may be in the position to assist them with kind of their post-secondary plans. So I know you can read, so I'll go through this very quickly. The mission of WAVE is to inspire students of all backgrounds and experiences to achieve academic and personal success through their own unique paths. We support holistic student development, both personal and academic, and staff and students work collaboratively to nurture the skills of self-advocacy, respect for other cultures, and pride in themselves. Our ultimate goals are to give students opportunities to become productive citizens in their communities and to empower them with skills and resiliency needed to embrace life. So how we work practically is, as I mentioned, we offer a hybrid model in which students can complete coursework both online and in person. We offer an advisory model, meaning that students upon enrollment are connected with a teacher who serves as their advisor. So each advisor, depending on kind of their additional roles at school, may have a caseload of 3 to 25 students that they are responsible for connecting with, helping them navigate the program, being kind of their first point of contact for both the parents or guardians, families, and the students. That advisor is also responsible for kind of helping them track their progress through their classes, because every student comes to us with a different set of circumstances and credit attainment. So there's not really grade levels in the same way there is at a traditional space. And so that advisor is responsible for helping students navigate their individual plan and their individual coursework, in addition to kind of providing some of that social emotional support students need to be successful. Each plan for each student is really individualized to meet that student's specific goals and kind of address whatever it is that brought the student to us in the first place. I know I'm going through this quickly, but you know, I know that I've probably, you know, we've taxed your attention span at an hour, so I'm trying to give this to you fast. How to apply? Any high school age student located in Washtenaw County can apply to WAVE. So there is an application link on our website where students and families can apply. Something to note, it asks for a lot of information about kind of credit attainment, and where they are in terms of their academic progress. And it's okay if students and families don't have access to that information. This application link is kind of a first step that gets sent to our front office staff as a note for them to reach out to the family and to the student to get some additional information and help them enroll. There are no academic criteria for a student to enroll with us. It's really a case-by-case basis. I would say most students are able to enroll. There are some situations in which, you know, we might have a student who comes to us at 19 years old with 1 credit, and then maybe that's not feasible for them to attain their diploma by the time the state requires that they age out. And in that case, we would refer them to some of the community programs and community partners that assist with kind of GED and adult education. We are able to serve students who are outside of Washtenaw County if they school of choice into one of our Washtenaw County districts. And that's something that we can also address with students and families kind of on a case-by-case basis as they apply. So once a student or family has completed the application, a staff member will reach out directly to the student or to the family in order to help them with next steps, get them in for a tour, and work with them to get their records from their previous school as needed. So just a little bit about who our students are. So 100% of our students qualify as at risk in at least one category. 28% of our students receive special education services as compared to just 13.1% statewide. So we have a higher representation of special education students at this time. 15% of our students are homeless, 46% are economically disadvantaged. WAVE includes students, a high number of students who have significant mental health issues or mental health needs that have made a traditional setting challenging. So we are very comfortable and capable and confident in working with students, particularly something that's pretty common is we'll get students who have pretty severe anxiety disorders and are unable to enter the school building. And so we've been pretty successful in working with students very slowly to acclimate them to the space. And we're ready and able to work with students and families on plans that make sense, collaborate with outside care providers to ensure that it's an environment in which students can be successful. Lots of students who have mental health needs that have caused them to become credit deficient due to chronic absenteeism or hospitalizations. We also serve a large LGBTQ+ population. Many of them have been bullied or harassed in their traditional school setting. So we serve students who are pregnant or parenting, students who are court involved, students who are in recovery from substance use disorders, or students who are working jobs to support themselves or family members. And we also have students who self-select into WAVE because they're interested in a program where they can work at their own pace, interested in kind of a non-traditional environment. And that's definitely a population that we have as well. So students can self-select, self-refer to WAVE. Oftentimes we'll get students who have been referred by their previous school district. And then just a couple of common questions that we get. Can students who are unaccompanied or homeless enroll at WAVE? Yes, absolutely. As mentioned before, we have about 15% of our student population qualifies as EPHY, meaning that they kind of fit those definitions of being homeless. We certainly are also able to enroll unaccompanied youth. So our staff are capable and aware of kind of how to work with students to track down any necessary documentation that they may have trouble getting access to themselves, and really getting them enrolled and started promptly. We do not provide transportation at this time. That's something that has historically been an issue and something we do not have the funding for at this time. So if anyone's got leads on that, let me know. But we are able to provide bus tokens to students who are on bus routes. So that's something we can assist with for students who qualify as homeless or for EPHY services. We have a little bit more wiggle room to work with the ISD on some transportation solutions. can I come tour the space? Yes, we love visitors from our community agencies as well as prospective families and students. It is not anything like a traditional school setting or school building. So we highly encourage folks to come check us out, come visit. And we're always happy to kind of give a tour of the space and let you see what WAVE looks like in action. And so to get more information, if you are interested or if clients or families you work with are interested, you can visit our website, you can call us, or you can email us, and someone will get back to you with additional information if you've got questions. So lastly, I've got my contact information. I am the general education school social worker at WAVE. And then I'm not sure if my partner Kelly is on this call currently. I know she was meeting with a student, but you can reach either of us through these numbers. These are direct numbers or our email addresses. And that is what I've got for you today, folks.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? You can throw a question in the chat, or you can unmute and speak your question too. All right, well, thank you, everyone, for coming. Moon and Amber should be back next month, I think, but I got the pleasure to be here with you all, so thank you. I'm going to go ahead and end our meeting. All these notes will be on the website on Barrier Busters, and we're going to not do the breakout groups today. We're going to call it. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. I saw some really great plans for this coming weekend. So enjoy, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.